shortly after bombing in Pennsylvania, the convicted GOP nominee headed south to Georgia, where he went on to ramble and stumble through yet another dumpster fire of a rally. In fact, this one was so bad that Donald Trump seemingly forgot which state he was speaking in after leaving the venue. Here is what Trump posted on Truth Social last night after his rally in Savannah, Georgia, and it reads, quote, "A great day in Louisiana, exclamation point." Yeah, sorry, Donald, but your rally was unfortunately in one of the most pivotal battleground states in the country. You know, the state where you were charged with conspiracy and several other felonies. Now, in my view, referring to Georgia as Louisiana is either Trump's cognitive decline showing in a big way, or it's how he copes with the trauma from what was truly an abysmal swing state performance. So, to kick things off in Louisiana, I mean Savannah, Georgia, here is Trump bragging about how he raised taxes on middle-class and working-class Americans.
We did so much. We gave you before the biggest tax hikes in the history of our country.
Oof, the Harris campaign couldn't have written a better ad for themselves if they tried. Excellent messaging, dude. Then Trump got mixed up about which city he praised neo-Nazis in back in 2017, as you'll hear him confuse Charlottesville with Charlottetown.
She didn't say anything except lies like a bloodbath, like Charlottetown.
It's Charlottesville, Donald, the place where you said there were very fine people on both sides of a neo-Nazi rally. Although, I guess we have to give Donald Trump a break. He apparently isn't getting much sleep these days. In fact, here he is claiming that he no longer sleeps because of how many great ideas he has.
I find it very hard to sleep. I get so many ideas. I'm thinking all the time.
Right. Staying up late at night at Mar-a-Lago without Melania is evidently where he's concocted all of his great policies, such as taking women's freedoms away and stripping seniors of their social security benefits, and not to mention his concept of a healthcare plan, which we still have not heard what that is in 9+ years. It's also likely where Donald Trump came up with his plan to impose tariffs on all imported goods, which he goes on to boast about yet again while trying to convince the crowd that it won't cause inflation, even though it will.
And by the way, you know, for years they knocked the word tariff, properly used, is a beautiful word. One of the most beautiful words I've ever heard. It's music to my ears. A lot of bad people didn't like that word, but now they're finding out I was right. And we will take in hundreds of billions of dollars into our treasury and use that money to benefit the American citizens, and it will not cause inflation, by the way.
Oh, it definitely will cause inflation. There's no denying that. It's why 16 Nobel Prize-winning economists said Donald Trump's economic agenda is a quote-unquote inflation bomb, and it's also why 400+ independent economists came out and endorsed Kamala Harris's economic agenda over the weekend. Although Trump doesn't seem to be in disagreement with those economists, because here he is outright stealing Kamala Harris's economic agenda in a rant that he literally copied from her campaign website.
Your wages will rise, your costs will fall, your job opportunities will grow, because we will conduct the largest deportation operation, sadly, in American history.
Whoops, that last part about mass deportation he added all on his own. The first part was all Kamala Harris, though. You know, about the growing jobs, the opportunities, the higher wages. Harris is promising all of those things without the cruel and inhumane migrant deportation programs that Trump and Vance have in mind. Speaking of violent rhetoric against migrants, Trump went on to bash Springfield, Ohio again.
In Springfield, Ohio, so you have a town of 50,000 people. They have 32,000 migrants put into the town almost overnight. And the people are so nice. You know, they want to be nice. They say, well, the mayor is actually looking for interpreters. He's looking all over for interpreters because they can't understand. The language is totally different. What the hell? I'm sorry. You have to move the people back to the country from which they came.
There he goes again, threatening mass deportations in a statement that likely will cause more bomb threats to be directed at businesses, schools, and hospitals in Springfield, Ohio. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Mike DeWine, the MAGA governor of Ohio, has been on record saying that Haitian migrants have improved the economy of Springfield, Ohio. So not only is Donald Trump sounding like Hitler 2.0, but his plans are straight up antithetical to a healthy and robust economy. Moving forward, Trump goes on to fearmonger about America somehow turning into Venezuela if he doesn't win the election, which makes no sense at all.
And I used to say it about Venezuela. Remember years ago, I'd say, Venezuela better be careful. And I'll tell you what, we better be careful because we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids. That's where we're headed.
Whether it's Venezuela on steroids or praising a self-described Nazi and perv in North Carolina's gubernatorial race as MLK Jr. on steroids, Trump has a weird fixation with performance-enhancing drugs. That should be looked into in his and Harris's next debate. Oh, never mind, he backed out of that because he is a coward. Speaking of Mark Robinson, Trump has still not mentioned his name at any rally nor commented on the scandal. No, instead, he's back to his latest bit in which he threatens voters that it will be the final election if he loses.
Somebody said the other day, if she won, you literally may never have another election. This could be your last election.
Says the man who refused the peaceful transfer of power and launched a coup against his own government to overturn the last election. I don't think this line of messaging will play very well with swing voters who still have January 6th fresh on their minds. Neither will him attacking Kamala Harris for working at McDonald's, but alas, leave it to Trump to mock the working class.
I'm going to a McDonald's over the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to stand over the French fries because I want to see what her job really wasn't like.
I feel like if anything, Trump actually does have experience of standing over a vat of McDonald's French fries. It was a weekly occurrence when he was in the Oval Office. Perhaps he would have ended up working there in his youth, as Kamala Harris did, if his father hadn't given him a multi-million-dollar loan, which he would go on to squander. In closing, here was Trump, who had 2 teleprompters staged in front of him, bragging about how he doesn't need a teleprompter.
Isn't it nice, by the way, to have a president that doesn't need a teleprompter?
Putting aside the fact that Trump reads from a teleprompter in every speech he gives, including the rally I just played you guys in Savannah, Georgia, I think most Americans just want a president who isn't a convicted felon or an adjudicated rapist who wants to terminate the Constitution. Really, most Americans just want a return to normalcy, a return to boring politics, and a president who will focus on helping the American people live a better life, which Kamala Harris is offering and will get a chance to articulate like she always does during her first solo interview tonight with Stephanie Ruhle on MSNBC, in which no teleprompter will be provided. There you have it, guys. Donald Trump self-sabotages in Georgia as Harris gears up for yet another display of why she is the better choice to be the people's next president. 41 days out from the election, and it really feels like we are in a great spot to win this thing. Let's keep it going. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode of the Gen Z Perspective. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the show and give us a 5-star review on Apple, because as you can see, the MAGA lunatics have bombarded the podcast with 0-star reviews. I think we're worth a little more than that, but I also think it shows you how terrified they are of our generation. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time on the Gen Z Perspective. The Gen Z Perspectives theme song was created and produced by Pokari.